making sure that we have our public benefits reformed in a way that encourages work, and then we'll talk about some of the other things that are going on the calendar today. One of the things I did want to start out with, though, is that you are, after today, going to be standing in the Tommy Thompson parlor. We are renaming this room today on behalf of Wisconsin's longest-serving governor and someone that is one of my political heroes. Most of you know that Tommy Thompson began his public service early in life. Left Elroy, was elected to the Assembly, is one of the youngest members when he began in the 1960s. He went on to serve a very distinguished career, calling himself Dr. No when he was in the Assembly, as he served as Minority Leader, running in 1986 against an incumbent governor when nobody thought he had a chance to win the primary. Five-way primary. I actually was a high school student who helped on that campaign and became friends with Tommy Thompson at the time. He went on to be elected, obviously, serving as the longest-serving governor in our state's history, and then went to Washington working for President George W. Bush as the Secretary of DHS. After that, taking his experience, having been someone who's really a model reformer in so many ways, he worked around the world. If you remember, he was on the global fight against AIDS and did an awful lot to help people who had challenges around the world. But he wasn't done yet. That's why he became president of the UW system, recently leaving that position, and I think most of us know that with Tommy Thompson, there is always a second act. So I'm excited today that we're going to have the opportunity to name this parlor in his honor and have a little celebration, so hopefully you can join us for that. But talking about the bills that are on today's calendar, I want to turn over to my friend, Representative Petrick, who will first begin talking about our workforce development package.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everyone, and what a great opportunity for Wisconsin. Today is a wonderful day when we look at building a stronger workforce in our state. The number one issue among employers in this state and probably our surrounding states, the Midwest, and the entire nation. Assembly Bill 883 we've called the Reemployment Assistance Act, and what's interesting about this is we're looking at a semantic change that is fundamental, and it actually is a foundational change to unemployment insurance. So instead of looking at an entitlement, what we want the department to do is to change their focus to helping people get back to work, which it should have been all along, but that focus has been lost. So people who lose their jobs through no fault of their own are the ones that get financial assistance, as it should be. But what do they want? They want a good career. They want a good job. Let's get UI working on that. So this has always been a bipartisan goal. Those that sit on my Workforce Development Committee, we have the same focus, and that's let's get people to work. So this puts legs under that with this bill. It'll refocus it, so put the focus on re-employment rather than unemployment. And certainly they're unemployed, obviously. But by doing this, we give the public an understanding right in the name of what we want to accomplish. And I think keeping it simple and straightforward is very, very good. Secondly, the bill will give everybody on UI an employability assessment. Now, this is sort of like job coaching. So we sit down, we assess your resume, we look at exactly what your skills and your dreams are, and then we try to fulfill them. And so they'll get a customized employment plan that can include additional work readiness resources, counseling, coaching, etc. So an interesting fact is, we did some calculations. If everyone who filed a UI claim found work just 1 week earlier during that pandemic, it would have saved the UI Trust Fund $115 million just in that one move. That's real money that could have been used to lower tax rates to help our businesses reinvest and create more jobs. So this is a really wonderful change in our focus. And it will also provide financial incentives to businesses to hire long-term unemployed and help them skill up for new employment if necessary. Because many people are not going to do the same jobs that they were doing before the pandemic, is something that we certainly learned. So that is the first bill, AB 883, Reemployment Assistance. And if I may talk about AB 973 in the absence of Representative Oldenburg, who couldn't be here right now. So can I go right on with that, please? With this workforce shortage, we need to continue to do what we can to get children, young people, interested in the trades. We know that. We hear it over and over from employers. So trying to get them enrolled in our tremendous youth apprenticeship program at an earlier age, get them excited about that, will be a very good thing, and that's what AB 973 does. It'll help reduce cost burdens, pave the way for more Wisconsin residents to get careers in those trades, expanding access to the apprenticeship award program, and that'll help apprenticeship workers lower their training costs. Assisting employers with youth apprenticeship costs that will encourage more employers to get involved. It's a great program, but many say, oh, well, there's too many barriers to it, there's too much paperwork. So this will help streamline some of that and get them involved, because everyone that participates, almost to a person, says, I wish I would have done this long before for my business. So we added construction to the list of career and tech education incentive grants, and that will help schools encourage children to get certifications in the trades. Dual enrollment is a wonderful program, and this encourages that. It creates a tax deduction for apprenticeship expenses. Often that can run into the thousands of dollars, so this bill addresses that. And support for that bill includes our operating engineer partners, Wisconsin Carpenters, ABC, Wisconsin Counties Association, Association of General Contractors, and they're all very excited to see this move forward and get to the governor's desk. So those are the first two bills, and with that, I think I'll pass it to Representative Bourne, and he can take it all from here. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Warren. Good afternoon. As my colleague just said, we're here, focused on workforce shortage issues today. We know this is the biggest issue facing our state economy right now. We know that we have 100,000 fewer people in the workforce than we did pre-pandemic, and that we've seen growth in the number of people on our benefit programs. And so, rather than the gimmicks and really just rhetoric that we hear from the governor on this issue and really no leadership, we have bills today that will help address this problem. And while the bills alone won't solve the entire issue, they are steps in the right direction to help and provide real help for our job providers in this state that need help right now with this workforce shortage. I'm going to talk about three of the bills myself. The first one being AB 935. Which would require Governor Evers to implement the work and drug screening requirements for certain welfare recipients. And if this sounds like something you've heard before, it's because it's state law, and the governor is not enforcing it. We have a law on the books that if you are an able-bodied adult without dependents, you need to be looking for work if you're on the food share program. The governor's decided to waive that unilaterally because of the pandemic, acting like there's not enough jobs available for people. We know that's not the case. We have a lot of jobs available. It's wrong to be doing this. And this is really a common sense thing. When I was talking to people in my district about this, they were shocked. Like, why would you not be required to look for work, right? I mean, these are supposed to be programs that help you get back on your feet and get back to work. To be able to avoid looking for work and collect these benefits just seems wrong to average people when you get outside the Madison bubble. The next bill, AB 936, is a bill that would make an able-bodied adult without dependents ineligible for Medicaid if they refuse employment for the purpose of retaining welfare benefits. This is another one where people, when they hear about it, are shocked. People are passing down promotions, increases in wages, which we're seeing across the sector now, in order to not earn too much to get pushed off their benefits. That's wrong. That's not what these programs are for. And this bill says if you do that, you will lose that benefit. Again, it's limited in scope like a lot of these are. It's not focused on people with disabilities or anything like that. It's able-bodied adults without dependents, the folks that we absolutely need to have back participating in our labor force, and these programs are supposed to help them get back into the workforce. The last bill I'm going to mention, AB 940, moves away from the benefit programs because there are a number of initiatives today, not just focused on welfare, that we want to bring forward to help with this workforce shortage. And this one would require Governor Evers to implement the talent attraction initiative that was funded in the state budget. And this is something, again, that's not new. We started this several years ago under Governor Walker. Talent attraction program just makes sense. We do a good job marketing this state for tourism. Why aren't we marketing for other things like a great place to live, get a good career, raise a family, play in our outdoor recreation, things of that nature? And we see people leaving states like California and Illinois that have bad fiscal policies and aren't places where people want to live anymore. We should be trying to get them to Wisconsin, and this is one of a couple of bills focused on this talent attraction. There's funds in WEDC that are there to do it. Like I said, it used to be a functioning program under Governor Walker. For whatever reason, Governor Evers has not done this program, and this bill will force WEDC to use those funds and start focusing on bringing additional talent to help us with our workforce issues here in Wisconsin. With that, I'm going to pass it to Representative Dahlman to talk about the next bill.
Thank you, Representative Bourne, and thank you for everybody being here today and for us being able to highlight a really good group of bills that are going to strengthen our workforce and really get people back to work in our state. My bill is AB 937, and it deals with unemployment insurance indexing. Pretty much creates a sliding scale for the amount of time that someone can spend on unemployment in regards to the level of unemployment that we have in our state. Currently, you can stay up on unemployment for up to 26 weeks. This would only be able to happen if we were at above 9% unemployment in our state. As we move down through the scale, if we would reach full employment or even down towards where we are right now, about 3%, you'd only be able to stay on the unemployment program for 14 weeks. The pandemic has proven that our unemployment system and our unemployment program is in need of reform. Our current programs provide for prolonged stay on these programs, and we should be encouraging people to get back to work in a quicker manner. We all know there's jobs in every corner of our streets and our cities. And these are high-paying, quality jobs that are willing to train you on the spot and give you the pay that's even much higher than what you would be getting on the unemployment program. There's already certain states that have implemented this type of program. Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, amongst others. Up to 10 other states have done this. They've all seen much more financially stable unemployment funds, 71% lower benefit costs to the employers that are funding these programs, and 59% lower unemployment insurance taxes. They've also seen enrollees on the unemployment insurance program get off at nearly twice the rate that they normally would under the system that we have right now. So I just wanted to say, in the economic climate we have right now, there's no reason that someone should need a half a year to find a good, high-quality paying job, as they're around every corner. So on that, I will turn it over to Representative Plummer.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to address AB 939, which addresses the practice of ghosting. So the biggest frustration we hear from employers these days are someone will apply for a job with them, they'll reach out for an interview, they won't respond to the interview, or they'll schedule an actual interview, which they don't show up for. The other thing that they're running into is they'll offer a job to a prospective employee, and there's no response whatsoever. So AB 939 penalizes prospective employees for not responding either to the interview, showing up for the interview, or responding to a job offer. The other thing it does is it allows the employers an avenue in which to report ghosting to DWD, and it requires DWD to investigate said complaint from the prospective employer. So the penalty for ghosting an interview or a job offer is a loss of benefits for that week. So pretty excited about this bill. I think it's a no-nonsense bill, and quite honestly, it's as an employer who pays into this system, I believe in this system. We talked about this earlier. I think it has to be protected. So it's there for a reason. It protects people who have lost their incomes for not necessarily any reason of their own, and it's a system we have to protect. But so I'm very excited about 939, and like to see it pass unanimously today. This time, turn it back over to Representative Steinke.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, thanks to our members for putting forward such a great slate of bills. Looking forward to a good day of hopefully a lot of bipartisan action. We're going to start out today with a few hometown heroes, and then go into the schedule on the calendar. We currently have about 9 hours and 45 minutes scheduled for debate. As we all know, that's kind of the outside limit. We're expecting it to be somewhat shorter than that, but it should be a good day overall. So at this point, we're open to any questions you might have.
Speaker Ross, you mentioned that you're going to rename this room after Tommy Thompson. Kia City is open to running for governor again. Is that something you'd like to see, and why or why not?
So Tommy Thompson is a very good friend of mine. I think that for anybody who has been in Wisconsin, not just Wisconsin politics, but Wisconsin period, you know that there is no better cheerleaders in the state than former Governor Thompson. I consider him somebody who's been a mentor to me, somebody who really took a young person. I'm going to talk about it today on the floor, but when I applied to be on the UW Board of Regents, he brought me in his office, and I'm sure he will not remember the interview process that he utilized. But Governor Thompson probably spent slightly more time talking to me than I did answering his questions, because he has an incredible amount of knowledge to give to the people of Wisconsin. So it'll make his own decision. I think that Tommy Thompson, as I said before, I have no doubt that he is not done. But I think that the wisdom that he has utilized in helping to make sure the UW system remains open, I mean, even making sure that we don't have the ridiculous masking policies on campus that we are seeing are going to expire before he leaves. So I think he is still having an impact on our state, and I have no doubt in the future he will continue to do that.
Mr. Speaker, there's a growing number of county Republican parties passing these resolutions asking for your resignation. Now, it's not just them arguing you're not doing enough about elections. Some of them that I've talked to say that you're not doing enough to unite the party. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow, yeah. Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
Uniting the party. So the example that I have utilized, and one of my colleagues actually did it at one of the county caucuses, which I think is a good point. So the main problem that a small number of people in these county parties have is that we are not decertifying the election, which we have told time and time and time again is unconstitutional and impossible to achieve. So if that is their main objection, I think it's a specious argument at best. So what my colleague did is to say, so what are the other things that people are not doing that the legislature should be or that Speaker Voss has not done? Is it that we haven't pushed hard enough on tax cuts? I think we've had the most in a generation. We have got probably the most conservative agenda and the largest number of accomplishments of almost any state in the country under Governor Walker and Lieutenant Governor Clayfish. We have been stymied by Governor Evers. And I think that if they were going to have resolutions at a county party, they would have resolutions urging the voters to choose better in November of 2022 because Governor Evers has been an abject failure. So uniting the party, I think we are united around the idea that Tony Evers needs to be a one-termer. The only ones who don't seem to remember that are the county parties who are having resolutions focused on the people in their own party as opposed to telling people why the other party is offering less of a good choice than we do.
Those people in the party are convinced that Joe Biden didn't win or that it's a question that somehow can't be answered. Is Justice Gableman's report going to definitively state who won the 2020 election to resolve that question for the biggest skeptics?
I think you'd have to ask him. We did not direct Justice Gableman to say, find these questions or answer these questions or look into these problems. We empowered him to use his ability as a former district attorney, former circuit court judge, to say, follow the information and the evidence where it leads. So I assume that when we get his report, that it will clearly demonstrate that there were problems in the 2020 election. I think most of us agree. We've now had the audit done by the Audit Bureau, which of course the Democrats have poo-pooed. We now have the Will report, which showed there were clear issues. I'm sure Justice Gableman's will echo many of the things that were in there, and hopefully in addition to having new things that are coming up. But I think under all three of those scenarios, we know there were problems in 2020, but I have never said that we could overturn the 2020 election. I'm focused on the future, which is making sure that in 2022, whoever wins, hopefully a Republican for governor and U.S. Senator Johnson and a lot of others on our side of the ticket, will be able to do so in a way that the left believes was fair because we put the safeguards into place to ensure that it was.
But you don't know if his report will say Biden won or Trump won.
We'll have to, yeah, I'd have to ask him.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, have a good day.